Start, and hopefully some more people will trickle in. So welcome to Dodo Modern Poets Summer Stars, and we've got a fantastic lineup tonight. Later on in the evening we have Neil Sercombe, we have Eve Pearce, Sade Joseph, and I'm going to start. I'm Patric Cunnane. Just to tell you about the form of the show, each poet that's performing will do a set in each half of about 10 minutes, and then we'll take a 20-minute break in the middle. If you've not been to the Poetry Cafe before, you've probably found the bar, which is upstairs, and the loser at the back of the room. So we'll get started. So it's summer, which is why not everyone is here, but never mind. There's an exhibition in Newcastle that I saw, which was an exhibition of postcards, and part of the exhibition was called The Man in the Red Pullover, and this is based on the fact that postcard photographers, when they go to the seaside, they're trying to find somebody who's wearing a red pullover, a red shirt, as a focal point for their photograph, and it's an idea they borrowed from Constable. But I have an objection to it. You know, if you want to go down to the seaside and walk along the beach wearing a red pullover, why should you be chased by the postcard paparazzi? So this is the man in the red pullover. Spot him if you can, the man in the red pullover, strolling along the sand. He's the universal walker, at home in every land. So cool he walks alone, with no one by his hand. Maybe he has a dog, but he doesn't let that show. He's not in any hurry, got no particular place to go. He lives for the summer and enjoys it all alone. You'll find him on the promenade, that's his special home. The man in the red pullover cries to his secret heart, why is it so cold inside when I'm so important to postcard art? I'm a lonely man in a red pullover. I stroll down to the sea. Those waves need never roll for all they mean to me. When Richard III was found in a car park in Leicester, one of the ways they were able to lead towards identifying him was that the contents of his stomach revealed that he ate a lot of fish, which meant that he was a high status individual. I thought about that, Richard III eating a lot of fish, and I thought, a poem called Dickie's Tummy needs to be written, so here it is. Fish was Dickie's favourite dish. They found some in his tummy, a sign that he was pretty fit, well endowed with money. His teeth were carey-free, though 500 years had passed. He pushed the sweeties to one side, ate apples first and last. His diet should have helped to live healthy, long and true, but he rode to war at Bosworth, a day he came to rue. On that muddy field he was brought upon his knees, brutally hacked to death, without a by or leave or please. Perhaps he thought of fish, or another tasty dish, while his short life drained away, and Henry Tudor claimed the day. The moral of this tale, don't forget to sink your ale, however well you eat, your end one day you'll meet. Take a little baccy, sup a whiskey by the fire, put away your crown and jewels, in the kingdom of the optimist, hedonism rules. So, I don't know if Richard III had a red pullover, but anyway, this next poem I wrote originally to help celebrate Chinese New Year at a little Chinese restaurant, which is run by a friend of mine that we sometimes do shows at. And it's called The Darkest Stars, and it's about the fact that since 2009 more than 100 Tibetans have self-immolated, many of them young monks or nuns in protest at the Chinese occupation of their country, and most of them died from their injuries. Through these flames we seek freedom, our immolated flesh singeing darkest stars. Our voice is speaking, listeners recoil at this challenge to our rude imprisonment, the scorching of our precious soil, our exiled leaders' eloquent resistance. As a new year turns, spare a prayer for us, set it spinning on your wheel, understand our desperate plea, our reddening anger, our white-hot steel. Now, I went to see an exhibition by the Belgian artist called Constantin Mineur, and he spent his life, he was a painter in the 19th century, if you don't know his work, painting and sculpting working people in mines or steelworks. And this picture is a young woman who was a mine worker in Belgium, and it struck me that it was interesting in the fact that obviously a lot of women were working down the mines in that period, and it's just such a dignified picture of this young woman, so I thought it needs to be celebrated in a poem. Mine worker. Her beauty shines amongst the smoked out terraces, clear eyes, scraped hair, scarf tied above her ears, a kiss-curled softening brow, eyebrows arched with dust. She works in darkness but lives in light, a profile suggesting the woman that might be. No privilege, just the hope of not going hungry, of not being under a collapsing roof, a falling beam. The picture's titled Mine Worker, the artist granting her the dignity and strength of one who sees some higher purpose for her class. When labour will have value, fly its flag from a steadier mast. Till then, this girl stays rooted to her landscape, shouting across valleys to the seats of power, fiery reds and muddy blues denoting something yielding, not locked in time. I'm going to finish my first set with two poems from a collection called Baltimore, which coincidentally is on sale here tonight. And the first one's a tiny poem. My family come from Ireland, and when I was in County Clare, where my mother comes from, I went to the grotto at Cratloe. So this is called At the Sacred Place. At the grotto in Cratloe, I lit candles for my mother and father, for your mother and father. They did not meet in life, but the four of them unite as pinpoints of light, flickering at the feathering edges of dusk in the green hills of Clare, above the broad majestic Shannon, flowing like a penitent prayer. And another seaside poem to close this set, also got an Irish connection. One of my favourite places on the south coast is Bognor Regis, and I was fascinated when I was visiting one day to discover that James Joyce had lived there for a year. There's a blue plaque on a little cottage by the sea, so I wanted to write a poem to ask the question, what was James Joyce doing in Bognor Regis? So it's called James Joyce in Bognor Regis. What was James Joyce doing in a terrace by the sea, writing Finnegan's Wake in Bognor in 23, in an ancient town where beachcombers walk the sky, with a pier 1,000 feet long where old bluesmen come to die, and restaurants shut at 6 in respect of the setting sun, and all that is left by then is the drinking still to be done, or watching the crazies at crazy golf, arrested here if they merely cough. This is not the best place to be if you want to make sense of what you see at the sea. God knows what Joyce thought of pubs where barmaids pull Guinness so fast. Perhaps he just loved the way the day seems to last and last and last and last. Thank you very much. I want to introduce the first of our guest poets tonight, and some